I welcome you all in today's online session. Hope you all are fine and have a good health. We start today's session with the verses of Holy Quran. So we start our session with engineering economics and management. And in engineering economics and management, the first question lies in the mind that why engineers study economics. So the answer of the question would would be found by the slide. So first we start the session with the aspect of economics. The social science that deals with the production, distribution, and consumption of a goods, a product, and services, and with the theory and arrangement of economic system that is related and relevant branches of economical system that deals with the economical consequences, aspect, and features in the daily use of theoretical aspect, services, good consumption, and the products of distribution related to the social science we call a particular science economics. And what is the relation with its engineering? First, we discuss the engineering. It is the profession in which a knowledge of mathematical and natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice is applied with judgment to develop ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. So this is the essential and important aspect related to the engineering perspective. It's a kind of great profession which always work for the welfare and prosperity of the mankind. So if you are engineer, you provide yourself that engineer is a kind of main profession which is deal with the social aspect, welfare aspect, and serve a main kind of profession which you deal with the kind of related works. So without engineering prospect, without engineering development, nothing technological aspect would be evolve the society. So engineering definition is also can be said in the words that engineering is the field of science which deals and work for the problem of society. So if you are engineer, so you must be proud yourself. Further, whom are engineer? Engineer use knowledge to find new ways of doing things economically. So economical solutions are the best solution which people need and people need to utilize, resolve the kind of things. So engineers are the people who provide the best out of best solution in cost effective, well manner, and which is beneficial for the society, mankind, all over the country, all over the world. So these are the engineers which are the best people of related to the profession. An engineer is a person who design a system, or simply an engineer is a problem solver, which I another definition of engineering perspective of profession, which I told you guys that this is the proud movement of engineer. Engineering economy. So now there is a relation of engineering and economics, which is we called engineering economy. It is the systematic evolution of economic merits of proposed solutions to engineering problems in economical way. So if you are in an industry being an engineer, your boss, supervisor, consultant, contractor required a solution from your organization, from you as well, a particular solution which is cost effective and economical aspect wise, user friendly. Otherwise, there are many proposed solution which are out there, but if they are not cost effective, not economical, then no one interested in the kind of solution. So it's up to our responsibility. We design a particular solution which is up to the mark, as market rate, as the competitor as well, and no one provide the solution as in your rates as the cost effective rate. Engineering economy involves formulating, estimating, and evaluating the expected economic outcomes of alternatives designed to accomplish a defined purpose. Mathematical techniques simply the economic evolution of alternatives. People are moving towards the solution which are the alternative, which are the uh, preventive aspects related to the cost effective solutions. It's a simple thing. If you buy a thing, buy a good which you uh, scored by an organization, by a firm in high rated value, then you must get the market survey as well to know the rate which is scored by other people as well. It's a rule of market survey. You got the challenging prices, the economic prices in all over the market as related to the market as best price which you required for a particular product. So that's the reason you need a market survey for it. In most of the tasks, to making a project, to making a tomato, to buy a tomato, so you need a market survey for it to find out what are the current rates are going in the market. So that's the reason market survey is the most essential aspect in engineering economics as well. Without engineering, you can say market survey is also a most important aspect, which is we dealing in whole life, which we dealing in daily routine works as well. The solution of engineering problem must meet the certain criteria, and that solution, which is the engineering economic based solution, that should be number one, solution must promote the well-being and survival of an organization. Solution must contain creative and involve innovative technology and ideas. So innovative ideas is most preferable aspect as well to select, to code, and to find out the particular idea. If your solution, which is driven by the idea, should be creative, should be innovative, which is related to the technology, then vendor, when your customer should be get solution must allow the critical observation of its estimated outcome. Solution must allow the critical observation of its estimated outcomes. So it is an important aspect. The observation should be critical. Critical means to find out its outcome, find out its relevancy up to the mark, and the technical perspective also be out there. Number four, coming towards the solution must be profitable as well. Without profit and less profit, product cannot be affordable. People cannot attracted by the kind of product if it's not profitable or highly profitable. Bottom line, through a valid and acceptable measure of merit, this is most important aspect related to the solution. So these are the four well-being solutions that solution you must be promoted as well as being survival of for the organization as well. The product which particularly survive your organization in a long term of line. Your solution must be creative and innovative as per the technology up to the mark, and the critical observations of its estimated outcomes as well out there. So your solution must be acceptable as the profitable outcome. So this is the one of the basic aspect as well. Principle of economy that engineering economics should be. The application of engineering economy is governed by some fundamental principles which are develop the alternatives. So you need the alternative solution as well, which should be the cost effective as well. So further, we have to develop or define alternative which should be identified and defined for subsequent analysis. Number two, focus on the differences. We have to focus on the differences in future outcomes among the alternatives are relevant to their comparison and should be considered in the decision. Use a consistent viewpoint. The expected economic outcomes of alternatives should be developed from a defined viewpoint, should be out there. So number four is use a common unit of measure to evaluate various possible outcomes of alternatives. A common unit of measure should be used. This simplifies the analysis of alternatives. Number five, consider all relevant criteria. These are the basic principle of engineering economy, which we need to very well know in the decision making aspect, in developing phase and in evolution stage. We need to know and should be aware about these principles as well. So consider all relevant criteria. Selection of preferred alternative requires the use of several criteria. Number six, make risk and uncertainty explicit. Risk and uncertainty are inherent in estimating the future outcomes of the alternatives and should be recognized in their analysis and comparison. Revise your decisions. The initial outcomes of selected alternative should be subsequently compared with actual results achieved. So this is the basic idea about the engineering economics related relevant aspect, and which are the most common related principle which I discussed with you guys, and these are the most important prospect in the field of engineering economics as well. So if we need to plan something, if we need to relate something, we should know the basic criteria of engineering economics to utilize our knowledge, which we implement in our most of the related ideas. Now moving towards the supply and demand. So again, I'm sharing with you guys the screen. The law of demand. So this is the most important aspect, and all over the region, the rule of demand and supply aspect related and relevant aspects, which we mostly deal in our daily routines. So demand law is the law of demand states that if all good factors remain constant, as the price of a good product rise, if a price of a product, remember this thing, this is most important statement law which we need to discuss here, that if a price of a good is high rise, the quality demanded falls. So it's, sorry, quantity is the quantity would be downfall. If demand would be high, if the price of product is rise, then the quantity demanded falls. Likewise, if all other factors remain constant as the price of product falls, quantity demand rises. Okay, we further continue the session. Likewise, if all the other factors remain constant and the price of a product falls, the quantity demanded would be rise. So it's the same vice versa scenario. So in this respect of demand curve, you can see the price from top to bottom is reduced, then the quantity would be high. So it's a basic aspect. If you need to buy something which is less in price, so the demanded quantity would be in high rate, which the idea also reflect by this graph that the price is reduced from 5 onwards 1, the quantity would also be reduced from 10 towards 50. The demand curve has a negative slope consistent with the law of demand as well. Now we further moving towards the law of supply. In the law of supply, it states that if all other factors remain constant, as the price of all good of a good, that good we call a product increase. So if all the other factors remain constant, the price of a good is increased, the quantity supply would also be increased. And vice versa scenario, likewise, that if all the other factors remain constant, as the price of a good product decreases. So consequently, the increasing aspect would be converting to the decreasing aspect. The quantity supplied decreases. So we further moving towards the law of supply. A fruit vendor will try to make available more fruits for sale when the fruit prices are high and relatively less when the prices are low. So it's a basic universal truth which we observe and seen in all over the marketplaces, our streets as well. So the idea also reflect by the supply curve. You can see in this graph that the price is decreasing from top to bottom in $5, 4, 3, 2, and $1. The quantity supply would also be decreased in 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10 onwards. So this same scenario in increasing and decreasing, we also be seen out there in the straight line, linear line graph, in which you can see the price and quantity are relatively high as the per point increasing, then the straight line would also be tell us the slope line, the consequent of supply of quantity with price increasing in a straight line. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. So we continue the session and we'll also discuss the supply curve perspective. After supply curve, we need to discuss the equilibrium. In Urdu, it is called tawazun, and in the economics, we called in Urdu marshia. An equilibrium is a situation in which the quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. So the equilibrium price is the price at which the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. So the quantity which demanded always equal to the quantity supply we called the equilibrium price. And if we come towards the equilibrium quantity, that is the quantity bought and sold the equilibrium price, we call the equilibrium quantity. So it's the same scenario, which is make a graph of price, which is 5 onwards, 1 in dollars, quantity supplied from 50 onwards 10, and the quantity demanded, which is 10 onwards 50. The equilibrium would be making from 10 towards 50, and the price 1 towards 5 would be increasing in straight line. I'm talking about that purple line. The price would be reduced from 5 onwards 1 and decreasing. By reducing the price, the quantity would be high, and by coincidence of each other, the single point which is make a equilibrium point in both the curve of both the graphs of straight lines, we get 3 and 30, the equilibrium point, which we again said the equilibrium occurs at the price of $3 and a quantity of at 30 units. So this is the equilibrium in price, equilibrium quantity. Shortage and surpluses. So shortages and surpluses are a shortages occurs when quantity demanded exceeds quantity supplied. A short implies the market price is too low. A surplus occurs when quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded. So again, I'm repeating the concept. A shortage occurs when quantity demanded exceed quantity supplied. Demand is exceed by the supplied. Supplied cannot be achieved. Supply cannot be provided by the market, but quantity which demand by the society, which demand by the users increasing day by day. So the artificial or natural shortage would be occur at that moment. A shortage implies the market price is too low. A surplus occurs when quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded. Surplus occur when the quantity supplied exceed quantity demanded. That the surplus would be occur, which means the quantity which is demanded would acquire, which fulfill by the market, then the surplus would be occur. A surplus implies the market price is too high. Shift in the demand curve, a change in any variable other than price that influences quantity demanded produces a shift in the demand curve or a change in demand, which factors that shift the demand curve includes change in consumer incomes. So then your demand curve would also be shift. Population changes. This is another and one of the best challenge, that if your population change, your demand curve would also be changed. Consumer preferences, sometimes the preferences and the attraction of customer can be changed, so your demand curve would also be change a particular product. Expected future prices. So the future prices expected would be change, then your shifted to demand curve would also be changed. Prices of related goods, if changes, then the demand curve will also be changed. Substitutes goods consumed in place of one another, complements good consumed jointly with each other. So further, the substitute backup products should be out there to vary or control the price and demand of the product, utilize a product which having $4, which made in Italy, and home brand of Nutella, that is the substitute product, like a chocolate caramel, which have the price 2.8 of dollars, which is the, you can say, the approximately approximately half. So substitute goods, the price and quantity demanded of one good is related inversely to the price and quantity demanded of a substitute good, meaning that if the price or quantity demanded of one good rises, the price or quantity demanded of its substitute will fall. So this is the magic of substitute product that would reduce the original price in market subsequently if your supply would be reached towards this local homemade brand of product, then your market based high demanded product will be demanded in less, so its price would be reduced. So this substitute, most of the societies and most of the community, substitute products are mainly used to reduce the prices and to create a shortfall fall down of a natural product, because it's an expensive product which is high rated market can also be preferred. So most of the people cannot be get the product by its high demand and high price. So further, today's lecture is end here. We further continue the session in next aspect as well.